I will continue. The mountain and rivers are our body. Reality is a steady following stream. Sophie, what do you think? The Tathagata had a human eyes. Human eyes is the eye when we all had that can see flowers, the blue sky and the white clouds. The bird that the awakening one had the ordinary human eye. Sophie replied, yes, walk on one. The Tathagata had a human eye. The bird asked Sophie, what do you think? The Tathagata had the divine eye. Divine eye, the eye of God that sees very near and very far and also see in the darkness and through the obstacle. Sophie said, yes, walk on the one. The Tathagata had the divine eye. Sophie, what do you think? The Tathagata had the eye of insight? The eye of insight is the eye that can see the true nature of non-self in living beings and the impermanent nature of our objects of mind. It is the eye of Sarvakhet and Bhagavad Buddha. Sophie replied, yes, word one. The Tathagata had the eye of insight. Sophie, what do you think? The Tathagata had the eye of transcendent wisdom. The eye of transcendent wisdom, the eye of the Bodhisattva that can see the true nature of the emptiness of all objects of mind. It can see the nature of awakened mind and of the great void. A Bodhisattva with the eye of transcendent wisdom see that he or she and all beings share the same nature of emptiness, and therefore his or her liberation is one with the liberation of all beings. Yes, walk on the one, the Tathagata had the other eye of transcendent wisdom. The Buddha eye, the Tathagata had the Buddha eye? Yes, walk on the one, the Tathagata had the Buddha eye. The Buddha eye, the eye that can see clearly the past, the present, the future, as well the mind of all living beings in the past, the present, the future. The five question and answer state that the Buddha had not only the Buddha eye, but also the eye of the Bodhisattva, Savka, God's human, and all the other living beings. The fact that the Buddha had a human eye gives us a pleasant feeling. It makes us feel closer to the Buddha. It means that what the Buddha accomplished, which you had the ability to accomplish. Sophie, what do you think? The Buddha see the sand in the gate at the sand. Sophie said, walk on the one, the Tathagata also called is sand. Sophie, if there were as many Ganga rivers, the number of grains of sand of the Ganga, and there were per their land for each grain of sand in all the Ganga river, would the Buddha land be many? Yet, walk on the one very many. The Buddha says, Sophie, however many living beings there are in all the deep of the land, through it has the different mentality. The Tathagata understand them all. Why does Sophie? What the Tathagata called different mentality are not in fact different mentality. That is why they are called different mentality. Here the Buddha begins to talk about the mind. The teaching is developed more intensely in the Rakha Sutta, which makes it apparent between the second and the third century, particularly in the chapter named The Manifestation of Consciousness. It also talks about the human eye, the divine eye, the eye of insight, the eye of transcendent wisdom, and the eye of the Buddha. The section of Dhyana Sutta briefly explains the Buddha eye, the eye that can see into the mind of all living beings. The Buddha had a very profound insight into the mentality of all the beings. The Buddha said that if there were as many Ganga rivers, the number of grains in the sand of the Ganga, and if the number of the world here as many of those grains of the sand, he knows the mentality of all living beings in all of the world. This means that the Buddha had a profound understanding of the mind. The mind here including the mind understood by contemporary by sociology, as well as the roots and the nature of all biopsychological phenomena, which are not conditioned by the birth and the death of the biopsychological phenomena. Modern biosociology and this study biosociological phenomena at their surface level. In Buddhism, the study of the mind begins at the root, so the Buddha sees both of the phenomena aspect of the different mentality and also the true nature. The Tathagata understanding all the different mentality because what we call different mentality are not, in fact, only different mentality. Why subtlety? The bad mind cannot be grasped, neither can be the present mind of the future mind. How can we have a true understanding of the mind if we keep going after different biosociological phenomena trying to grasp them? This is why it is difficult for modern biosociology to truly grasp the mind in the practice of Buddhism. By means of direct experience, one is able to be in talk with the true mind. Biosociological study, research, theory, and comparison of different mental phenomena cannot really grasp the mind, since the bad mind cannot be grasped. Neither can the present mind or the future mind. As soon as any mind arises, it's immediately dissolved. In this sutta, we learn how to deal with work and concept. Work are used to name or describe concept, but as soon as we see things at the eye, we understand that both work and concept are not the thing themselves. Work and concept are rigid and motionless, but reality is stiff like following stream. It is possible to contain a living reality in a rigid framework. We should have a bearded mind when we are trying to describe anything. There is always something distant between our work or concept and that what is being described. The famous story of a monk in China who was on his way to visit Zen Master Sheng Jin in London. He stopped at the foot of the Zen Master mountain to spend the night in a small inn that was run by an old lady. The monk arrived holding a copy of the Diamond Sutra, and the old lady, who had well versed in the sutra, noted it. After I read, the monk said, "Good evening, madam. May I have something to warm my mind?" Wanted the mind with a Chinese present for the breakfast. The old woman asked back, "What kind of mind do you want to born? The bad mind, the present mind, or the future mind?" The old woman asked back, "What kind of mind?" The monk was unable to answer. Feeling ashamed of himself, he gave up his job to meet the master and head back home. He felt that if he could not even answer the question of an old innkeeper, how could he confront a true master? If he had asked me the same question, I would have answered something like this: "I do not need bad mind, present mind, or future mind. I am hungry and only want something to eat." I could have talked my empty stomach as I spoke. The idea that bad mind, present mind, and future mind cannot be grasped in an Islam idea, but it is still just an idea. We need to eat. They are living reality. When you are hungry, you need your breakfast. Why should you be embraced by a talkative innkeeper? Great happiness. What do you think, Softy, if someone were to fill the 3,000 children with your precious treasure? As an act of generosity, would a person bring great happiness by his virtual act? Yes, very much work kind of one. Softy, if such happiness were considered as an entity separate from everything else, the Tathagata would not have said it to be great, but because it is unreadable, the Tathagata has said that the virtual act of the person brought about great happiness. This to confirm that the fact that it is possible to use the word and concept for true communication. As long as you are not carried by word and concept, the way to avoid being carried by word and concept is to see the nature of interbeing in everything. 32 Mark. Softy, what do you think? Can the Tathagata be reserved by his perfectly formed body? No, work 101. What the Tathagata called a perfect formed body, not in fact a perfectly performed body. That's why it's called a perfectly formed body. What do you think, Softy? Can the Tathagata be reserved by his perfectly formed by Sochinomi? No, work 101. It is impossible to be served the Tathagata by any perfectly formed by a student. Why? Because that Tathagata called perfectly formed physiognomy, not in the fact perfectly formed physiognomy. That is why it's called perfectly formed physiognomy. According to legend, the Buddha perfectly physiognomy consists of 32 special marks, but the Buddha and Sukti both say that the Tathagata cannot be preserved by any bodily form, and with all the other forms, body form are given a name, but both name and form are framed by the idea concerned, and therefore cannot contain the living, boundless reality. The same teaching concerning the use of word and concept is found in the following section. Inside life. Subtly, do not say that they have that concept the idea I will give a teaching. Do not think that why if anyone say that the has something to teach. That person claim that the Buddha because he do not understand what I say subtly give the Dharma talk. In fact, it means that no talk is given. It is truly a Dharma talk. Then inside life Subti said to the Buddha, what kind of one in the future will there be a living being who will feel completely confident when they hear the word? The Buddha says, Subti, no living being and neither living being for non-living being. Why does Subti, why the character called non-living being are truly living being? When we can see the no-role investment, we're looking at a role. It is safe for us to use the word role. When we look at A and see that A is not A, we know that A truly A. Then A is no longer a dangerous obstacle for us. Inside life, you try to even to noble teacher who has attained transcendent understanding, such as inside life, Subti, inside life, Sariputta, and so on. If we keep in mind that unity cannot be framed by word, concept, speech, or symbol, we can easily understand the Buddha teaching in this section of the Sutta. The sunflower. Subti asked the Buddha, what kind of one is the highest, more filled with awakening mind that the Buddha attained in the unattainable? The Buddha said that he writes Subti, regarding the highest, more fulfilled awakening mind, and had not attained anything. That is why it is called the highest, more fulfilled awakening mind. Here we come to the notion of non-attachment. If we think that the Buddha had achieved an independently existing attainment, this attainment cannot be called the highest. More fulfilled awakening mind, the moment of the concept of the highest, more fulfilled awakening mind, right, the section of the more fulfilled awakening mind vanity. This is why the Buddha said he had not attained anything. Many years ago, I wrote a poem about a sunflower. The sunflower here, the paramita, transcending understanding. Come dear with your innocent eye. Look at the clear blue ocean of the Dhammakaya and look at the green color, the manifestation of the shark snake. Even if the world is settled, your smile is never vanished. What did we grant yesterday and what will we lose today? Come dear, look right into this existence, adorned by illusion. See the flower, sunflower is already there. All flower turn to white, it and come termless. The moon is just the moon. Furthermore, Subti that mind is everywhere equally, because it is neither high nor low, it is called the highest. More fulfilled awakening mind, the root of the highest, more fulfilled awakening mind rely on the practice of all wholesome action in the spirit of non-self, non-person, non-living being, and non-lifespan. Subti, what I call wholesome action, in fact, are not falling action. That is why we are called wholesome action. Now we come to the nature of equality. Science, sacred equality means neither did in that, neither liberating nor being liberated. Neither is I nor other, neither many nor few, neither high nor low. All object mind of equal say the same nature of interbeing. The highest, more fulfilled awakening mind cannot exist independently of what is not the highest, more fulfilled awakening mind. Then no table that is independently of no table element. Cloud and ocean, ocean and cloud. Cloud do not exist independently of ocean and vice versa. Because our object of mind are neither high nor low, this is called the highest, more fully awakened mind in our talk. The moon might be full and new, brighter and dim, present or not present, but the moon itself has no object characteristic. The moon is just the moon. Our object of the mind are equal. The more virtual acts of if someone were to fill the 3,000 currents with fire of the 7 pressure tracer that highest mountain such an act of generosity. The heavenly resulting from this knowledge that another person who knows how to accept practice and explain the Vajita Paramita such to others. The heavenly rays resulting from the virtue of a person who practices this sutra, even if it only cries of our forelight cannot be described by using symbol of our mathematics. This session repeats the idea present in session 19. Please refer to the commentary offered in that session. Organic love. Something do not say that they had the idea I will bring life into the shore of liberation. Do not think that why. Something why in truth there is not one single being for the Tagata to bring to the other shore. If the Tagata were to think that there were, he would be caught in the idea of a cell, a person living beyond our lifespan. Revelation in exactly for inside the diamond that could rule illusion had many repetitions at the order. The one above, and the more we cannot read the subject, the more deeply we venture into profound significance. If we read it only one, we may think we understand all of it, but it can be literal. Reading the subject do in measure, time and energy are necessary for success. The Tagata you work and idea the same way of the order of flower is flower, the gambit is a gambit, awakening is awakening, illusion is illusion, a vision is vision, but the Tagata do not get caught in name of the idea. We on the other hand and the habit of looking at the teen and fit energy, and we may make it caught in our view. So the Tagata true language that can help us look deeply and readily become liberated. Sometimes the Buddha speak in a way that sounds as if they were a cell. For example, he said, Nanda, would you like to go up of vulnerable pit with me when you do work Ananda? The idea of a person of you in the center, would you like to go up to vulnerable pit with me? The idea of cell you under the Tagata use work and idea like order, he not cut by the work and idea. Subtlety, what the Tagata call is self-essentiality, had no self the way that ordinary person think that their self. Subtlety, the Tagata do not regret anyone as another person. That is why he can call them ordinary person. They are very deep and beautiful sentence. A person is called an ordinary person, but it at the same time Buddha. By calling him or her an ordinary person, the Buddha not being condescending. We say the word Buddha with respect and admiration. We never imagine that it could be in Buddha the body of Buddha or Bodhisattva. Because we do not want to be disrespectful, but the teaching of Paramita say the Buddha five are also our nature. The Buddha make of non-Buddha element, the Buddha is make of the in-Buddha. In Buddhism, non-duality is the essential character of love. In love, the person who loves and the person being loved are not two. Love has an alternate characteristic. In light of interbeing or problem, the world and the humankind should be solved according to the principle of organic love and non-dual understanding. Their principle can be applied to solve the problem of the Middle East and the former Soviet Union. The suffering of one side, also the suffering of the other side. The meter of one side, also the meter of the other side. When one side is angry, the other side suffer and vice versa. The principle can also be applied to solve the environment problem, so as climate change and the environment degradation. River, ocean, forest, mountain, earth, rock, and all the body. To practice the living environment is also to practice ourselves. This is alternate, non-dualistic nature of the body way of looking at complex the environment and the love. A bag filled with work. What do you think, Softy? Can someone meet the eye on the Tagata by means of the 32 meg? Something said, yet work on the one with you, the 32 meg to media to the on the Tagata. The Buddha said, if you say that you can use the 32 meg to see the Tagata, then the content is also the Tagata. So it said, work on the one. I understand the teaching. One should not see 32 meg to mediation to the Tagata. In Buddhism, there are many different methods of mediation. One in the mediation of the inmate of the Buddha, according to the method, one visually the Buddha with 32 silent and mighty and beautiful mouth. Something the name of the Buddha is called somewhere that the image of the Buddha can appear more clearly in the mind of the practitioner, who Buddha can appear more clearly, beautiful and calm. The monks were accustomed to the practice and did it whether they wanted to see the made of Tagata. That it wasn't the answer with the yet walk on one with you. We should you to 32 make to mediate on the Tagata. A Katavati is a king who keep the wheel of the right and turning throughout his region. He too was said to have a 32 make a pre-person. In light of the Diamond Sutra, we should not identify the body of 32 meg with the Buddha. In fact, we should make at a grand effort to look for the Buddha where he 32 meg are absent in standing water in a big and to her laboratory. When we can see the Buddha Tikaya pleasure, we have signed it view the Buddha. Did not to say that the meditation on the Buddha Ruda 30 to make erroneous. To a new practitioner, the meditation can bring confidence, stability, and peace of mind. The pressure laughter is blooming on the wrong of awakening me. The Buddha lies richer in the 10 direction. He understands in every arm or on the dogma. He allowed by the tree, mountain, and river. Unseen the image of awakening me, I feel on my vision vanish. I pray he buried Mary and would to study and practice in order to attain to the fruit of awakening in. Why going through difficult moment in life? If we content the Buddha with the 30 to make, we will prepare and reflect. The Dhamma Sutta does not tell us not to do that. I just teach us to look more deeply into also meditate on the media outside of the 30 to make. The better way of suffering if we grab him too firmly. One Zen master stopped using the word Buddha because people overuse the word so. He told his community from now on, every time I use the word Buddha, we go to the river. In fact, my mail up 3 times. His statement is completely in accord with reality of Paramita. But when people heard his work, they thought he was being disrespectful. Only 100 in the community understood his three stories and said, Venerable Sir, I deeply appreciate your work. Every time I hear you say the word Buddha, we had to go to the river and wet out my ear 3 times. How wonderful both men were free of empty work, though of us who shielded the Buddhist system without conveying the teaching of the Buddha should wet out our mouth and ear, we must be counseled. The Vietnamese musician Pham Duy proudly song his song, Man is not our enemy. Our enemy wear the color of an ideology. Our enemy wear the label of liberty. Our enemy had a huge appearance. Our enemy carry a big blanket with work. Then the work kind of one small differed. Someone who look for me in form, as it me in sound, enemy taken back and cannot see the Tathagata. When we first learn to meditate, we may visualize the Buddha with his 32 special mark. We may even see the Buddha in our dream, but when I want to heal, we should leave down non-image and see the Buddha in birth, sickness, LA. See you later.